The shotgun's roar shattered the pre-dawn silence like a thunderclap from hell, and I watched in frozen horror as the buck crumpled into the frost-kissed underbrush, its final breath a ragged gasp that echoed my own pounding heart. "You missed the shot, coach?" Alex whispered, his voice cracking like the ice under our boots, eyes wide not with triumph but with something raw and unspoken. Fear, maybe, or the ghost of every abandonment he'd ever survived. In that instant, as blood pooled dark against the snow, I realized this hunting trip wasn't about trophies or team building. It was the unraveling of us both, two fractured souls chasing shadows in the Wyoming wilds. I'd always prided myself on being the steady hand, the one who glued the pieces back together. As head coach of the Denver Broncos developmental squad, a ragtag bunch of college hopefuls scraping for NFL dreams in the shadow of the big leagues, I'd built my life around second chances. Kids from broken homes, foster system survivors, the overlooked talents who hit harder because life had hit them first. That's how Alex Rivera ended up on my roster 3 years ago. He was 18 then, all lean muscle and guarded eyes. Adopted at 15 by a single mom in Aurora who ran a diner and prayed harder than she cooked. "He's got fire," the scout had said, but I saw the flicker. The way he'd flinch at raised voices in the locker room, how he'd linger after practice sketching plays in the dirt like they were escape routes. Our annual team retreat was my ritual, a 4-day pilgrimage to the Bighorn National Forest, far from the roar of Empower Field and the relentless grind of Denver's sports machine. No cell service, no scouts hovering like vultures. Just us, the rifles, and the relentless American wilderness that didn't give a damn about your stats or your sob story. This year, with the playoffs dangling like a carrot we couldn't quite reach, I'd pushed for it harder than ever. Bonding? I called it in the team huddle, clapping shoulders and forcing grins. But deep down, it was for Alex. He'd been off since summer. Quiet in drills, missing easy passes, staring out bus windows like he was mapping a getaway. Whispers in the locker room said it was girl trouble, but I knew better. Alex didn't chase skirts. He chased acceptance, and lately, it felt like it was slipping through his fingers like mountain gravel. We'd arrived at the old logging cabin 2 days prior, a squat timber relic leased from the Forest Service, its walls scarred by decades of axe marks and bad decisions. The team, 14 players, me, and our grizzled assistant coach, Harlan, piled out of the Suburban like a herd of elk, gear clattering against the crisp October air. Laughter bounced off the pines as we unpacked coolers of venison jerky and cores. But Alex hung back, shouldering his duffel with that quiet intensity that made him both our secret weapon and our enigma. "You good, kid?" I'd asked, bumping his arm as we hauled wood for the fire pit. He nodded, flashing that half-smile that could disarm a defense line, but his eyes, dark, like polished obsidian, held a storm I couldn't name. That first night, around the crackling fire, stories flowed like the whiskey Harlan smuggled in his thermos. Jamal, our linebacker with the gap-toothed grin, recounted his first fumble in a high school championship, how his dad had called him a quitter and walked out for good. The guys howled, ribbing him until tears mixed with the smoke, and for a moment, the circle felt unbreakable. Alex sat cross-legged on a log, poking embers with a stick, his laughter the softest echo. When it circled to him, he shrugged. Adopted life's like football. Sometimes you get picked last, but you run harder anyway. We cheered, clinking bottles, but I caught the way his fingers tightened on the stick, knuckles whitening like he was holding back a confession. By dawn of day 2, we'd splintered into pairs for the hunt, the ritual that separated boys from men in these parts. I drew Alex, not by chance. Harlan's knowing wink said as much. We trekked out before the stars faded, rifles heavy on our backs, the air biting sharp with pine and earth. Wyoming's bighorns are no gentle hike. They're a jagged spine of granite and fir, where elk ghosts roam and winter whispers threats even in fall. We moved in sync, years of drills honing our steps, silent, predatory. Alex was a natural, his foster-honed instincts making him ghost through the brush like he'd been born to it. "Eyes up," I murmured as we crested a ridge, the valley below a silvered bowl under the moon's last glow. He nodded, breath fogging between us, close enough that I caught the faint scent of his soap, clean, like mountain rain. That's when we spotted it. The buck, majestic and unaware, grazing at the treeline. My heart jackhammered. Not from the kill, but from the proximity, the way Alex's shoulder brushed mine in the crouch. His warmth cutting through the chill like a lifeline. I raised the shotgun, steady as always, but my finger hesitated on the trigger. What was this? A coach's protectiveness or something deeper, forbidden in the bro code of locker rooms and gridirons? The shot rang out before I could overthink it, but it wasn't mine. Alex's rifle bucked in his grip, the report deafening, and the buck dropped like a marionette with cut strings. He stood there, transfixed, the barrel smoking faintly. I didn't mean to take it, he stammered, voice small against the vastness. I clapped his back, forcing levity. Team effort, Rivera. Now let's field dress this beast before the crows call dibs. But as we knelt in the cold, knives flashing in the rising light, his hands shook, not from adrenaline, but from whatever demon had driven that shot. Blood slicked our gloves, warm and metallic, and in the silence that followed, he finally broke. Coach, what if I can't keep pretending? The words hung like fog, and I knew then that the hunt had just begun. Not for game, but for truths we'd both buried deeper than any grave. We dragged the buck back to camp by mid-morning, the team erupting in whoops as we hauled it into the clearing. Harlan slapped Alex on the back hard enough to stagger him, booming, "That's my boy! First blood of the retreat. Feels like championship vibes." The guys circled, snapping pics on the one-burner phone with spotty signal, their faces flushed with that primal high. Alex managed a grin, but it cracked at the edges, and I busied myself with the cooler, cracking open a water to hide my unease. Pretending. The word clawed at me, stirring memories I'd locked away since my own college days. The furtive glances in the showers, the crushes on teammates that I drowned in beer and bravado. Lunch was a feast of canned chili heated over the fire, the air thick with banter and the tang of pine smoke. Jamal led a round of "Never Have I Ever," twisting it football style. Never have I ever dropped a snap in the red zone. Fingers flew down, accusations flying like confetti. When it hit Alex, never have I ever hidden who I really am. The circle went pin-drop quiet. He didn't drink, just stared into the flames, and I felt the weight of every unspoken judgment in that pause. Harlan cleared his throat, steering us to hunt stories from his Vietnam days, but the damage lingered, a hairline fracture in our fragile unity. Afternoon brought rain, a sudden deluge that turned the trails to mud and confined us to the cabin. We huddled inside, cards slapping on the scarred oak table, bets made in push-ups and protein bars. Alex and I claimed the loft, a cramped nook with sagging bunks and a window overlooking the storm-lashed pines. As thunder rolled, he unpacked his sketchpad, tattered edges from years of use, penciling quick lines that blurred into the patter on the tin roof. "What's that?" I asked, leaning over, careful not to crowd. He tilted it. A rough outline of the buck, but twisted, its antlers morphing into barbed wire, eyes hollow with accusation. "Just messing around," he said, but his voice was threadbare. I sat on the bunk's edge, the springs groaning under me. "Talk to me, Alex. That shot this morning, it wasn't just buck fever." He capped the pencil, exhaling slow. "Mom's sick, cancer, and the adoption agency. They're reviewing my file. Some bullshit about stability now that she's in treatment. Like I'm still that kid they bounced around fosters for being too much trouble." His laugh was bitter, self-deprecating. "Trouble? Yeah, because liking guys instead of girls makes you a goddamn liability." The confession landed like a blindside tackle, knocking the air from my lungs. I knew the stats, the foster kids who aged out queer and queerer, statistics stacking against them like unpaid bills. But hearing it from him, raw and unfiltered, cracked something in me. "Hey," I said, voice low, "you're not trouble. You're the heart of this team. The reason Jamal fights harder. Why we all show up." He met my eyes then, and in that charged silence, the rain's rhythm syncing with our breaths, I saw the boy who'd clawed his way to this moment, and the man he was fighting to become. Downstairs, the game devolved into chaos. Dice rolling, shouts echoing. But up here, time stretched. "What about you, coach? Ever feel like you're faking it?" His question was a hook, pulling at scars I'd bandaged with whistle blasts and playbooks. I thought of Mark, my college roommate. The one kiss stolen in a dorm blackout that ended our friendship and started my lifelong charade. "Every damn day," I admitted, the words tasting like freedom and regret. "But you don't have to. Not here. Not with us." He reached out then, tentative, his hand covering mine on the bunk rail. A touch electric, innocent, loaded with the weight of what-ifs. We didn't move, just let the storm rage outside, 2 points on a map redrawing their lines. By evening, as the rain eased to mist, the team dragged us down for venison steaks grilled over dying coals. Laughter returned, tentative at first, then full-throated, and Alex's stories flowed freer. Tales of diner shifts flipping burgers for his mom, dodging bullies with quick feet and quicker wit. For a night, the cabin felt like sanctuary, the wilderness a benevolent witness. But dawn of day 3 brought the shadow. Harlan pulled me aside at breakfast, his face etched like old leather. "Rivera's off, Jake. Saw him sketching up there. Looked like trouble. You handling it?" I nodded, tight-lipped, but doubt gnawed. Trust was the currency of coaching, but secrets? They could bankrupt a team. As we geared up for the final hunt, Alex fell in step beside me, rifle slung easy. "Thanks for last night," he murmured. "Means something." I ruffled his hair, brotherly, but my pulse betrayed me. The trail wound steeper, fog cloaking the ridges, and with each step, I wondered if the real prey was out there, or lurking within us. The fog clung to the bighorns like a lover's regret, muting the world to grays and whispers as Alex and I pushed deeper into the unnamed ravine. Our boots sucked at the mud, each step a reminder that nature didn't yield easy paths, much like the confessions we'd half unpacked in the loft. "Keep low," I hissed, spotting fresh tracks. "Elk, maybe, or wishful thinking." He nodded, eyes scanning the mist with that hunter's focus I'd envied since day 1. 3 years under my wing, and still, moments like this made me question who was teaching whom. We'd been at it an hour when the ravine narrowed, walls rising sheer and moss-slick, the air thickening with damp earth and something sharper. Panic? No, it was the faint echo of voices, carried on a breeze that shouldn't exist in this dead air. "Team," Alex mouthed, rifle half-raised. I shook my head, straining. Not cheers or calls, arguments low and venomous, slicing through the fog like shrapnel. My gut twisted. Retreats were for forging steel, not cracking it. We crept forward, silent as scouts, until the voices sharpened. Harlan's gravel rumble, Jamal's rising tenor, and beneath it, a third, slurred, unfamiliar. Peering over a boulder lip, we saw them. Our linebacker duo, plus a rangy kid named Tyler who'd washed out last season but tagged along as alumni support. They were hunkered in a shallow alcove, passing a flask that glinted dully. Harlan's back was to us, broad as a barn door, but his words carried clear. "Rivera's solid on the field, but off? Kid's got issues. Saw him eyeing you in the showers, Jamal." "Ain't right." Jamal laughed, uneasy, swigging deep. "Nah, coach, just bro stuff. But yeah." Whispers from his old fosters. "They say he got bounced for behavior. You know, the kind that don't play in football." My blood iced over, fists clenching till nails bit palms. Alex beside me went statue still. His breath a shallow rasp I felt more than heard. Tyler chimed in, voice oily. "Heard his mom's on death's door. Agency sniffing around. Might pull his papers. We carrying dead weight for playoffs." Harlan grunted agreement, the betrayal landing like a gut punch. This wasn't locker room trash. It was conspiracy. Roots twisting back to fears we'd all buried under jerseys and jockstraps. Before I could signal retreat, Alex shifted. A boot on loose scree, a pebble skittering like an alarm. Heads snapped up, eyes locking on our silhouettes. "Coach? Rivera," Harlan called, feigning surprise, but the flask vanished quick. We descended, the ravine suddenly claustrophobic, accusations hanging thicker than fog. Eavesdropping now? Tyler sneered, but his bravado cracked under my glare. Alex said nothing, just stood there, rifle at port arms like a shield, face a mask of carved stone. Save it, I growled, voice low thunder. This retreat's about trust, not backstabbing. Whatever poison you're peddling ends here. Harlan stepped forward, hands placating. Just talking strategy, Jake. Team's gotta be airtight. Playoffs don't forgive weak links. Weak links. The phrase slithered, evoking boardroom cuts and foster files stamped unfit. Jamal shifted, guilt etching his brow, but Tyler puffed up. Strategy? Call it what it is, protecting the pack. Kid's a liability, and you know it. Alex finally spoke, voice steady as a quarterback's cadence. Liability? I've blocked for every one of you, taken hits you'd cry over. If that's not enough. He trailed off, eyes flicking to me, pleading not for defense but permission to shatter. I stepped between them, chest tight. Enough. We're done hunting. Pack up, back to the cabin. Now. The order brooked no argument, but as they slunk past, Harlan's hand clamped my shoulder, whisper hot. You're soft on him, Jake. Don't let it tank us all. The hike back was funeral march silent, fog lifting to reveal a sky bruised purple, promising snow. Alex trailed at my heel, a shadow with a pulse I could feel sinking to mine. At camp, the team assembled like storm clouds, murmurs rippling as gear clattered into piles. I called a huddle under the sagging porch, faces upturned, some defiant, others ashamed. This, I swept an arm at the wilderness, voice cracking with rarely shown fury. This ain't Denver politics or scout bullshit. It's raw, us against the wild. But if we're knifing each other in the back, we're no better than coyotes on scraps. Eyes dropped, but Tyler crossed arms. And if one of us drags us down? The challenge hung, and all gazes slid to Alex, who met them unflinching. Then cut me, he said simply. But know this. I've got more fight than your whispers. Jamal broke first, stepping forward. Shit, man. I didn't mean. But Alex waved it off, a ghost of his half-smile returning. Water under the ridge. Just play like you mean it. We broke early, the Suburban's engine rumbling to life as flurries dusted the pines. The drive to Denver was a pressure cooker. Forced small talk over classic rock, Harlan's silence a brooding weight in the shotgun seat. Alex rode beside me in the back, knee brushing mine over the cooler, a silent anchor. By nightfall, we hit the city lights. Mile High's glow a beacon pulling us from the brink. Dropping the team at their dorms, handshakes lingered heavier, promises of next practice, laced with unspoken mending. I pulled up to Alex's duplex last, the porch light flickering over his mom's impatience, wilted but stubborn. He lingered at the door, duffel slung. Coach, thanks for not letting them bury me out there. I killed the engine, the quiet amplifying his words. You buried nothing, kid. You're the spark. Our eyes locked, that electric hum from the loft reigniting, but I doused it with a nod. Get some rest. We've got film tomorrow. He nodded, but paused, hand on the latch. What if it's not just the team? What if it's you? The question was a grenade, pins pulled, and in the dashboard's glow, his vulnerability was a mirror to my own. I swallowed hard, the line between mentor and man blurring like fog on glass. Then we figure it, one play at a time. He smiled then, real, radiant, and vanished inside, leaving me gripping the wheel, heart hammering against ribs like a drumline at kickoff. Back at my loft in Lodo, the city's pulse throbbed through floorboards, trains whistling, bars spilling laughter, but sleep evaded. I paced, replaying the ravine. Harlan's venom, Tyler's sneer, Alex's quiet steel. Betrayal wasn't new to football. It was the undercurrent, the blind side that won or wrecked seasons. But this, cut personal, slicing at the humanistic core I'd built my coaching creed on, second chances for the sidelined, love for the lost. By midnight, my phone buzzed. A text from Alex. Simple. Dreamed of the buck. It ran free. Night coach. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering, then typed, good. Run your own race. Hitting send felt like releasing a held breath, but dawn brought reality's bite. Practice loomed, and with it, the fracture's aftershocks. The field house buzzed with Monday grind. Pads popping, whistles shrilling, but undercurrents swirled. Harlan cornered me in the tape room, coffee breath sour. We need to talk roster, Jake. Rivera's distractions. It's bleeding the line. I faced him, steady. Distractions? Like your little ravine summit. His eyes narrowed, feigning innocence. Protecting the program. You gonna let sentiment sink us? Sentiment. The word stung, echoing my own doubts. Was I seeing Alex clear, or through a haze of unresolved longing? Drills that afternoon were brutal. Sprints in pouring rain. Tackling dummies yielding to mud. Alex shone, weaving routes like poetry. But post-whistle, he pulled up lame, clutching his ankle. Twisted it on the trail, he lied. But I saw the wince of deeper pain. In the trainer's room, ice packs and tape, I knelt, fingers gentle on his skin, clinical but charged. Push through, I teased, echoing his grit. He chuckled, wincing. Always. Our hands brushed, lingering a beat too long, and in that sterile light, the air hummed with possibility. Jake, he said, dropping the title. What are we doing here? My name on his lips was a spark, igniting questions I'd sidestepped for years. Surviving, I whispered. Same as always. But survival demanded choices, and as snow dusted the practice field that week, the agency's call came, voicemail from a caseworker, clinical as a scalpel. Reviewing stability for Alexander Rivera. Contact regarding placement. My world tilted, the lesson crystallizing. In America's heartland of dreams and discards, love wasn't just a feeling. It was a fight. The caseworker's office in Aurora smelled like stale coffee and faded hope. Fluorescent buzz underscoring the stack of files on her desk like a verdict waiting to drop. Ms. Hargrove, mid-40s, sharp suit, sharper gaze. Tapped a pen against Alex's adoption papers, the ink smudges mirroring the chaos of his file. Mr. Langford, as his coach and friend, she said, the pause loaded. You understand the optics. Elena's prognosis is terminal. Without a stable guardian, Alexander re-enters the system at 21. And with his history, she trailed off, flipping to a flagged page, notes on behavioral incidents from foster logs, code for the quiet rebellion of a gay teen in straight-world cages. I leaned forward, elbows on knees, the worn chair creaking under me. History? Kid's a straight-A student, MVP on the field. He's not a file, he's Alex. Her eyes softened a fraction, the bureaucrat yielding to the human. I know, but policy's policy. Elena named you as emergency contact. If you're willing, the offer hung, a lifeline or a noose, depending on how deep I dove. Willing? Hell, I'd been diving blind since the retreat, mentoring blurring into something achingly real. Late-night texts dissecting plays and pains, shared coffees where his laugh lit the dim diner like stadium lights. Back in my truck, engine idling against the slushy curb, I gripped the wheel till knuckles ached. Take him in? Me, Jake Langford, 42 and wedded to the whistle. No roots beyond the Broncos' sidelines? Mark's ghost whispered no. Our stolen youth a cautionary tale of bridges burned. But Alex's face in the ravine, steel masking storm, drowned it out. I texted Elena first, her reply a frail voice note. He's my world, Jake. Yours too, if you'll have it. Then Alex. Dinner. My place. 7. No questions, just the pull of us. His duplex glowed warm against the December dusk. String lights Elena had hung for normalcy, twinkling like defiant stars. He answered in sweats and a Broncos hoodie. My old one, pilfered from lost and found, grinning that half-smile that undid me. Mom's sleeping. Said to tell you the Chili's award-worthy. Inside, the air hummed with cumin and quiet strength. Chemo posters on the fridge, Alex's sketches taped to cabinets like talismans. We ate cross-legged on the living room rug, bowls steaming, the TV murmuring a Rockies game neither watched. Agency called, I said, post-spoonful, the words tumbling heavy. His fork paused mid-air, eyes locking mine. Wary, wounded. And I set my bowl down, deliberate. They're reviewing. Elena named me contact. If it comes to it, I want you with me. The admission landed soft, seismic, his breath catching like a fumbled snap. You don't have to, coach. I can. Jake. I cut in. And yeah, I do. Not pity. Because you're not just a player. You're. I faltered. The romantic undercurrent we danced around surging. He reached across, hand on my knee. Innocent. Electric. Home? He whispered. And in that word, the retreat's fog lifted, revealing the man I'd fallen for amid the pines. That night, we talked till the game's final out. His first crush on a foster brother, the foster system's casual cruelties, my own closet cracked open in confessions of Mark and the years of hollow winds. Laughter wove through tears, his head eventually on my shoulder, exhaustion claiming him to soft snores. I didn't move, just traced the line of his jaw with my eyes, the humanistic ache swelling. In America's merit myth, we were outliers. Adopted son and reluctant father, lovers in waiting. But damn if it didn't feel like grace. Word spread like wildfire through the team, whispers turning to stares by Friday practice. Harlan's scowl deepened, drills snapping with extra bite. Langford's playing house now, Tyler muttered in the huddle, loud enough for echo. Jamal shut it down. Mind your gaps, asshole. But the rift widened, fractures from the ravine's spiderwebbing. Post-practice, Alex iced his ankle in the trainers, me hovering like a sentinel. They're talking, he said, voice low. About us. About me staying. I knelt, rewrapping tape, fingers lingering. Let M. We're building something real. Off-field matters most. But reality bit back Saturday. Playoffs seeding us against the Salt Lake Stallions. A grudge match in the Utah Chill. The bus ride was tense. Harlan up front with his playbook. Me in the back with Alex, shoulders touching in silent solidarity. Watch the blitz, I murmured, playbook open but eyes on him. He nodded, sketching a quick heart in the margin. Playful, profound. The stadium lights blazed artificial dawn, crowd a sea of rival silver. But as we took the field, the team coalesced around Alex's pre-game speech. We've hunted together, fought shadows. Now we run the line as one. Halftime tied, 14-14, our locker room a steam of sweat and strategy. Harlan pulled me aside, voice urgent. Scouts are here, NFL eyes on Rivera. But this domestic angle, it's poison. I bristled. It's his life. Ours. His laugh was bark dry. Ours? Jake, you're delusional. Kid's a flight risk, queer, unstable. Cut bait before it sinks the ship. The betrayal reignited. Hotter now, laced with jealousy I hadn't named. You're done, I said, final as a whistle. Interim leave. Now. The second half exploded. Alex threading passes like lightning, Jamal stonewalling rushes, the team a machine forged in fire. Final score, 28-21, our roar echoing the mountains. But victory soured in the bus bay, Tyler's phone blaring a voice note, Harlan's, slurred from a bar. Langford's gone soft, shacking with the fag kid. Tell the AD, end this farce. The bus went tomb silent, eyes on me, on Alex beside me, hand finding mine under the seats. Defiant, tender. Back in Denver, the leak hit like a scandal, local sports blog, Broncos buzz, anonymous tip fingering inappropriate relations between coach and player. Phones blew up, AD's office, Elena's worry, the agency's chill, pending review. I faced the team at dawn practice, field slick with melt. Rumors are noise, I said, voice steady. We're signal. Play through. But eyes darted, trust eroding like snowbanks. Alex confronted me that evening, rain lashing my loft windows. It's my fault. I pushed. No. I pulled him close, foreheads touching, the romantic pull unbreakable. It's theirs. And us? We're the lesson. Love in the crosshairs, but standing. His kiss was soft, exploratory. First, chaste, sealing promises amid the storm. But as sirens wailed distant, the climax loomed. Betrayal's blade, sharpened by small-town bigotry, poised to carve us open. The AD's summons came Monday, office reeking of polished oak and ultimatums. "Jake, this is untenable," he said. File open to the blog printout. Ethics board sniffing. "Resign quietly, or we suspend Rivera. Permanently." My world narrowed to that threat, humanistic fury boiling. Suspend a kid for loving? For surviving? He sighed, paternal. "It's the game, son. Protect the brand." I stormed out, straight to the field house, where Alex waited, pads on, eyes storm-dark. "They're forcing my hand," I said, collapsing beside him. "You stay. I go." He grabbed my jersey, fierce. "Bullshit. We fight together." His resolve ignited mine, the gay heart of us pulsing defiant. Calls flew, union rep, Elena's lawyer friend, and by dusk, a counterstrike. Team petition, Jamal leading, signatures inked with "Stand with Coach and Alex." But Harlan's shadow lengthened. That night, tires screeched outside Alex's duplex. Vandalism, spray paint slurs, freak out. Police lights flashed blue. Elena pale in her robe, Alex's fists clenched. In the aftermath, huddled on the porch, he broke. "See? I'm the curse." I held him, rain mingling with tears. "No, kid. You're the cure, the lesson in grace amid the grit." As snow fell thicker, blanketing the hate, I knew the peak approached. Confrontation, not on turf, but in the soul of what made us American. Flawed, fierce, forever chasing light. The Broncos boardroom loomed like a coliseum of glass and steel. Downtown Denver's skyline, an indifferent witness to the Inquisition. I sat at the polished table's end, Alex to my left, shoulders squared, but his knee bounced under the cloth, a tell only I caught. Across, the AD flanked by Suits and Harlan, reinstated overnight like a bad penalty call. "Mr. Rivera," the AD began, voice oiled. "Your presence is appreciated, but this hearing concerns Coach Langford's conduct." Appreciated. The word grated, reducing Alex to footnote. He leaned in, voice clear as a snap count. "Then why am I here? Because I'm the conduct?" Murmurs rippled, Harlan's smirk faltering. I squeezed Alex's hand under the table, anchor, ally, and launched. "Let's cut the dance. You leaked the story, Harlan. Poisoned the well to protect your brand. From a gay kid and his coach who dares care." Gasps, but the AD raised a hand. "Allegations, Jake. We have ethics violations. Fraternization, influence on roster. Fraternization. The corporate veil for don't ask, don't love." Alex's grip tightened, his whisper hot. "They're scared. Of us." I nodded, channeling the retreat's grit. Scared? Of a team that's 8-2 because of him? Because of us building trust, not walls. I slid the petition across. 24 signatures. Notes scrawled, "Alex's family." Jamal's bold, "Betray one, betray all." Harlan leaned forward, eyes venomous. "Touching. But playoffs don't run on feels. Kid's a distraction, files say deviant. Agency agrees. They're pulling support." The bomb dropped casual, but it detonated. Alex paled, breath hitching. Pulling support. Elena's chemo unpaid, his world unmoored. I surged up, chair scraping. "Deviant? That's your word for resilient? For a boy who lost everything and still shows up?" The room crackled, security hovering at doors. But Alex stood too, voice breaking but unbroken. "You want distraction? Try hiding who you are every scrimmage, every huddle. Try loving someone the system's wired to erase." Silence swallowed us, humanistic truth echoing off walls built on exclusion. The AD cleared throat. "Emotional. But policy. Policy be damned. I cut. Suspend me if you must. But touch him, and you lose the heart of this program." We stormed out to Winter's Bite, snow swirling like confetti in chaos. In the garage, Alex sagged against the truck, tears carving tracks. "They'll cut you. Because of me." I pulled him close, embrace fierce, romantic in its desperation. Coats muffling heartbeats, breaths mingling white. "Worth every yard," I murmured, kissing his temple, chaste but charged. "You're the play that changes everything." Word of the hearing leaked by noon, sports radio buzzing, Broncos drama. Coach's queer stand shakes sidelines. Fan emails flooded, half vitriol, half hallelujahs. America's divide in inbox form. Elena called from her bed, voice frail fire. "Proud of you boys. Fight like hell." But the agency followed. Hargrove's tone clipped. Placement revoked pending investigation. Alexander. Temporary housing assignment. Temporary. The word was a gut shot. Foster echoes reviving nightmares. Alex hung up, face ashen. Back to square one. We drove to my loft in silence. The city a blur of lights and losses. Inside, I brewed coffee strong as resolve, pulling him to the couch. "Not square one. We're building from here, you, me, the team." He curled against me, vulnerability raw. "What if it's not enough? What if love's just another fumble?" I tilted his chin, eyes locking, mentor to equal, heart to heart. Then we lateral. Pass it forward. Our lips met then, soft exploration yielding to deeper promise. No rush, just the slow burn of souls aligning. It was romance distilled. Two men, scarred by secrecy, finding sanctuary in each other amid the storm. But climax crested cruel. Next morning, the AD's email, suspension effective immediately. Rivera benched indefinitely. The field house emptied of allies, some fleeing fallout, others plotting quiet revolt. Jamal texted, "Meeting tonight. Diner. We're not done." Hope flickered, but Harlan's shadow loomed larger. A leaked recording, his voice to a blogger. "Langford's grooming the kid, classic predator play. Predator." The slur twisted my gut, weaponizing care into crime. Police showed at noon, questions probing, Alex's file dragged into daylight. "Routine inquiry," the detective said, eyes skeptical. We sat side by side in interrogation's chill, hands linked defiantly. "Grooming," Alex spat. "Try guiding. Try loving without apology." The cop softened, nodding. "Seen enough cases to know truth from trash. But brass wants blood." Released, we hit Elena's, her arms enfolding us like forgiveness. "My warriors," she whispered, chemo pale but steel-spined. Over tea, plans hatched, lawyer for defamation, team for pressure. But nightfall brought betrayal's apex. Tyler, Harlan's pawn, cornered Alex post-gym. "Freak," he snarled, shoving him into lockers, bruises blooming purple. I found him there, slumped, eyes hollow. "Enough," I roared, hauling Tyler off, fists flying till security peeled us apart. The brawl hit headlines. Broncos implode, fistfight over gay coach scandal. Sponsors pulled, fans picketed, hate signs clashing with rainbow banners from allies unearthed. In the eye, Alex and I fortified. Walks in City Park, snow crunching underfoot, hands laced. "Remember the buck?" he said one dusk, bench by the lake. Felt like killing a dream. I pulled him closer. "Nah, we set it free. Taught it to run wild." His laugh was balm, but tears followed. "What if they win? Agency takes me. You lose everything." I cupped his face, thumb tracing lip. "Then we rebuild. Queer, adopted, American, that's our superpower." The kiss that followed was deeper, emotional anchor in turmoil's tide. Romantic, redemptive, real. Jamal's diner meet was electric. Half the team, fists on Formica, plotting mutiny. "We walk," he declared. "No coach, no play." Petitions escalated, social media storming, stand with Jake and Alex. Even Elena's diner filled, regulars, queers, fosters, donations for chemo, signs of solidarity. Harlan's empire cracked. Exposed calls to donors, bigotry bare, He resigned in disgrace, slinking to consulting. But the agency's gavel fell. Placement denied. Mr. Rivera returned to temporary facility Monday. Heartbreak crested. Alex packing in silence. My loft echoing empty. This isn't goodbye, I vowed, holding him on the threshold. It's half-time. His nod was tear-streaked, but eyes burned. Overtime, then, for us. As he drove into night, taillights fading like dying stars, I collapsed, the lesson crystallizing amid ruins. Betrayal forges, but love endures. Humanity's true retreat, where wounded warriors find their way home. Monday dawn brittle, Denver sky a sheet of iron as I shadowed Alex to the agency's intake center. A squat brick bunker on Colfax, chain link whispering defeat. He walked tall, duffel light on shoulder, but each step echoed our unraveling. The loft's warmth traded for cots and curfews, our fragile us severed by stamps and signatures. Call me, I said at the doors, voice rough as gravel. He turned, eyes fierce through unshed tears. Every whistle, he promised, then gone, swallowed by bureaucracy's maw. The drive back blurred, radio droning Broncos fallout. Interim coach named, roster shakeup, my name asterisked in infamy. But under it, a tide turned. Fan vigils at the stadium, justice for Alex trending, queer orgs mobilizing like a fourth-quarter comeback. Elena texted, he's okay, fighting. Her strength, borrowed from him, fueled mine. By noon, my lawyer, pro bono firebrand from the petition, rang. Defamation suit against Harlan. Ironclad. And the league? They're buckling. Ethics review flipped on new evidence. Evidence. Tyler's confession, coaxed by Jamal over burgers and guilt. Harlan's payoffs for smears, forged foster notes. The house of cards toppled. Harlan's consulting gig evaporating under DOJ scrutiny for fraud. I hit the field house uninvited. Badge surrendered but spirit unbowed. Finding the team in drills. Ghosts of us, but eyes lighting at my shadow. Coach! Jamal bellowed, tossing a ball. I caught it, leather familiar as heartbeat. Unofficial, I warned, but they swarmed, huddle forming instinctive. Alex, I asked. Whispers. Agency hold. But Elena's got pull fundraiser tomorrow. Hope surged, humanistic ripple from one woman's diner grit. That night, her place transformed. Tables shoved aside, locals packing shoulder to shoulder, rainbow flags draping windows. Elena emceed frail but fierce, mic in hand. My boy's a fighter, like his coach, like all of us sideline souls. Toasts rose, beers clinking, tears flowing. As donors pledged. Chemo covered, legal fees crushed. Midway, my phone buzzed. Hargrove. Reconsideration. With new stability affidavits from the team, Elena, you were pausing revocation. Pausing. Not victory, but breath. I found Alex in the kitchen, post-release on Compassionate, washing mugs with that quiet efficiency. They're giving us time, I said, arms encircling from behind. He leaned back, solid, safe. Us, he echoed, turning into the embrace. Romantic renewal, kisses soft as snowfall. The Broncos AD called Dawn, voice contrite. Mistakes made. Harlan's out for good. Reinstate you? Rivera too? Full scholarship pushed to pros. I laughed, bittersweet. On our terms. By week's end, presser packed. Me at podium, Alex beside, hands linked open. This game's about more than yards, I said, cameras flashing. It's heart, and ours beats for the overlooked, the adopted, the queer, the fighters. Cheers drowned slurs, America tuning in, divided but drawn. Spring training bloomed green, field alive with second chances. Alex quarterbacked seamless, his touch precise, passes arcing like promises. Off-field, we built slow. Dinners in, hikes echoing the Bighorn's lessons. Love unfolding chaste but deep. Nights curled on my couch, sketches of our future pinned to fridge. Elena rallied, scans showing stable. Her diner a hub for foster fundraisers. Queers finding footing. Yet climax's echo lingered. One June evening, Post-victory scrimmage, Harlan surfaced, gaunt, at my loft door, envelope in hand. Resignation was bullshit, he slurred, eyes wild. They framed me, league suits. Paranoia? Or ploy? I blocked the threshold, Alex hovering behind. Save it. Your protection nearly broke us. He lunged, envelope spilling. Photos? Grainy. Me and Alex in the ravine. Embrace misinterpreted. Proof, he hissed. Grooming. Betrayal's final twist, but we were armored now. Alex stepped forward, voice steel. Proof? Of survival. Of love you can't touch. I called security, Harlan hauled away. Final play fumbled. Charges followed. Stalking, extortion, his empire ash. Summer's heat baked the city, but our retreat redux healed. Bighorns again, team smaller but tighter, no rifles, just trails and talks. Around the fire, Alex recounted the buck, now myth. Taught me to aim true, not at shadows but light. Eyes on me, romantic glow in embers. I pulled him aside later, ridge overlooking valley's gold. You taught me, kid, lesson in grace. Adopting not just a player, but a life. He kissed me then, under stars vast as possibility, deep, declarative, the gay romance we'd earned. No haste, just hearts sinking, humanistic him to endurance. Fall playoffs dawned, stadium electric. We clinched division, confetti raining on Alex's MVP lift, my arm around him, partners public. Elena in the stands, frail but beaming, her hand in Jamal's. Family forged. Post-game, locker room roar, but our quiet. Hotel suite, city lights below, bodies entwined in tender exploration. Emotional, not erotic, seals on vows unspoken. Yet the arc bent humanistic, not saccharine. Elena faded that winter, peaceful in hospice, her last words. You boys, my legacy. Graveside, snow soft, Alex's eulogy cracked. She adopted me, but we all adopted each other, flaws and fights. Tears froze on cheeks, but resolve warmed. Foundation in her name, for Foster's queer and kin. Years blurred. Alex to NFL, me to analyst desk, our Denver life woven, home with porch swing, sketches on walls, love steady as seasons. The hunting trip's lesson endured. In America's wild heart, betrayal scars but doesn't define. It's the adopted players, the lovers, the lost, who teach us to run free, antlers high, towards light unbroken. And in quiet nights, his head on my chest, I whisper thanks. To Buck, to Pines, to the boy who gave a coach his soul back.